What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. So here's the thing. Sorry if I'm a little quiet tonight. It's 11:48 here, but I had to do a podcast tonight, right? Because the Kawhi watch. But the whole fam is in bed and don't wake up the pops and little sis because they have an early flight tomorrow. But that's about it. Let's get to it. It's 4th of July, so also ignore those shooting sounds in the background. And I apologize for a little shadow work in the room because, again, it's late night here. But sometimes it's when I'm motivated. So, Kawh-what is going on with Kawhi? No? Alright. Yeah, so here's the thing. This Kawhi watch has kind of turned crazy. Watching the herd, Colin Cowherd today, freaking showing Kawhi landing on his jet in Toronto. As they pointed out, it's like the OJ chase practically. It's just nuts, but it's just crazy to think about free agency in general. We gotta think about what Durant decided to do. He decided to leave the most luxurious, cater to you, ignore the neediness, the most selfless franchise you could possibly imagine, the Golden State Warriors. He leaves that and walks to Brooklyn, a place that was last in attendance in the league last year, by the way, has Kyrie there, who is just baggage himself, and Durant, who is just a full-blown dose of neediness, goes into that with not much of an experience on the bench. Again, a young team, young coach Kenny Atkinson, and Kyrie, who doesn't have much more leadership skill than Durant. If you have that, and we're trying to predict Kawhi's move by what's best and what's perfect for the franchise and what would give him the best leadership role, we're misleading the direction of this, you guys. Kawhi could do anything. He's gonna choose the Lakers, Clippers, or Raptors, obviously, but he could go anywhere. It's going to be one of those three, but we heard today apparently that the Clippers are out of it according to many sources, but the Clippers, that's the only meeting we haven't heard anything from. You hear all the jazz about Magic Johnson, LeBron, and the flashiness of the Lakers. You hear about the Raptors, and Drake's apparently at the meeting. They're probably offering to put Kawhi on some new record label, but it's just nonsense, you guys. It's nuts, honestly, that we think they have some crazy plan, because Kawhi is I can't think of his age off the top of my head, but a young guy, still relatively, weird personality, only recently married, not the lifestyle of some 50-year-old hardworking married man. It's just a guy like all of us out there trying to make a life-changing decision. He doesn't know where he's going either. It's absolutely nuts to think it's all premeditated. I was going to check his age for you real quick, because that's some information I feel more professional with, but that laptop's dead, so it's just part of the set tonight. I like to spice things up with my set to make it look nice and NBA set style. Alright, anyway, so let's go more on Kawhi. So, again, here is the thing, if you got the catch line, with Kawhi. Meeting with Lakers Clippers is what we know. He's met with those two, and then the really blown out of style one was the Toronto meeting, where we had felt the need to film him landing in Toronto to discuss a possible basketball contract with an NBA team, which seems absolutely nuts. But you have to think, it's interesting that the Clippers are really just a Western Conference version of the Raptors. You see, look at the rosters. Gasol, big man, young version. Montrezl Harrell, kind of, You got the shooting guard, Lou Williams, kind of is matched there because Kyle Lowry's a little bit younger. Lou Williams, veteran off the bench, but same sort of skill set. Lou Williams, definitely a better scorer, but you start to see the similarities that Landry Shamet, you know, went to Wichita State, just like Fred VanVleet, who's very valuable in this 2019 finals that won against the Warriors. Same team in college, same kind of role, young guy out of nowhere. Shamet hit the biggest shot of the game when the Clippers came back from the 31-point deficit against the Warriors in the first round, when we were all obsessed over that David Goliath story. That, you know, there's similarities between those two teams, and so it's crazy to think he goes there. It's kind of the same lineup, but it makes things interesting because the East suddenly really becomes wide open if he does that. You know, this year people said it's different because LeBron left, which absolutely was true, but you saw how dominant Kawhi was, and he basically became the LeBron that wasn't this past year in the Eastern Conference. We thought it was Giannis, but in my opinion, Giannis is a regular season guy, but we got to those down the stretch moments. It just wasn't the same. And, you know, Kawhi leaving, Giannis leading the Bucks, Jimmy Butler now in my Miami Heat, but the only dude there. And then what else do you have? You know, Victor Oladipo, we don't know his timetable really for returning from his bad injury, but we got, I don't know, who am I missing on here? The 76ers, and their spread out talent, they can be, you know, just totally unpredictable. But, I mean, the East really after that, the Celtics, Kemba, it really wide open if Kawhi leaves Toronto. That's one of the craziest things I think we're forgetting about this is we saw this past year, 2018, 2019, as a wide open Eastern Conference, okay? Wide open. But looking back in hindsight, Raptors won the title. Kawhi Leonard, one of the best two-way players in the game, probably maybe best current two-way, argument up for grabs for best player all around, blah, blah, blah. You know, we have Giannis and the Bucks, but now Brogdon's a Pacer. For those of you who didn't know that. Those guys are going to be gone if Kawhi goes to the West, and so, but it's crazy because we thought that was the case this year, but then who won? An Eastern Conference team because of a diminished Warriors team. So, you know, Kawhi makes that move west. It's Clippers and Lakers, maybe kind of in the power struggle, but the Warriors, a new signing of Cauley-Stein, they got D'Lo now. Obviously, it's like that side of the league is going to be fighting for power, and then the East, what if they topple the giant that is just, you know, crushed with injuries from the West again, kind of like we saw this year, maybe a Bucks or a sleeper team like the Celtics. It's just crazy what can happen, but that's just a topic for a different day, quite frankly. You know, but the best opportunity for a title for Kawhi on the Kawhi Talk is it's gotta be LAL. The Lakers. Little bias to LeBron here. Everybody who knows me watching this is going to know that. But, I mean, come on. You got LeBron, AD, and Kawhi. And what happens with the super teams that have three superstars? They win titles. The '08 Celtics, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett. They got their three superstars. Didn't necessarily fit at the beginning. Reading Ray Allen's book he read, there was conflict. There was even some ego mentality that, you know, rubbed him the wrong way with Paul Pierce when he immediately got there. But the bottom line is they settled their disputes, they got on the same page, and they won. And that's what you need to do. The 2012-2013 Heat, LeBron, Wade, Bosh. Oh no, Wade had to give up his glory and fame. No problem. Selfless player, got it done. Bosh, big man, down low, sort of a post-game player. Step out, shoot threes. A lot of people hated it, including my dad. Guest on my first podcast, plug for that one, NBA Free Agent Frenzy. But yeah, the three superstars figure it out. AD, LeBron, Kawhi, if that happens, you know, the biggest thing that's got to change there, I feel like, is it's kind of exactly how LeBron, Wade, and Bosh fit in my mind, actually, you know. Kawhi, I would say, even as a Wade fan, probably a little more in his prime than than Wade was when that Miami team happened, but AD, decent shooter, not a shooter though. We need to become a shooter, spread out the floor, be able to go to the corner for LeBron's kick out late in games if he needs them to not clog that lane up. And then Kawhi, kind of like Wade again, like I was saying, just continue to be that dynamic scorer all around, a mid-range guy kind of like Wade, but it can work. LeBron has adapted his three-point shot, and Kawhi, excuse me, is a three-point shooter, and Wade wasn't. You know, Toronto, man, if he stays there, it's going to be about not too much a change in Toronto, the team, you know. They'll get their shot at the Eastern Conference title, and maybe we'll have good finals if he stays there again. But, all right, we got to talk about KD, you guys, okay? Kevin Durant, okay. I will get a little personal and admit that I've been someone who has been at times called out for being a sensitive guy in my life, but the one thing I've become self-aware enough to understand is what being sensitive is, and we'll stop there because I just need to preface with that to have credibility to say Kevin Durant is just a sensitive guy. Like I pointed out at the beginning of the podcast when I went on a tangent rant, is he's in Golden State, the Golden State Warriors, the Bay, California, beautiful place, lovely things to do, great team, great front office, greatly run organization, great culture, great city. They cater to him. They give Durant the ball in clutch moments. Steph Curry doesn't give a crap that he's the best shooter ever, and he sometimes gets overshadowed and lets Durant get the spotlight. Durant goes off for 50 against the Clippers in these playoffs. They do everything they can to get him to play with a possibly torn Achilles that was controversial, and they did it for him. He wanted to play, they got him back in. The organization risked credibility with that and risked terrible flack from the press, and they got it. But they put Durant in because that's what he wanted to do. They did everything the guy asked for. And there's apparently rumors that he felt that, what was it, disrespected by the Warriors, like he wasn't valued enough. Come on, man. He is a 29 to 30-year-old professional athlete. Again, relatively young, but at some point, like Charles Barkley said earlier, like, it is on him, dude. I mean, I don't know. Lots of Colin Cowherd plugs. I heard today. He does the analogy a lot of single guy, no wife, no kids, on your phone a lot type of thing. I'm younger, single, on my phone a lot. I'm not doing that. I'm not a professional athlete and making the biggest decision of my life, but I'm not doing that. It's just, you have to think that Steve Kerr played on a Bulls team where Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr in a practice, his own teammate, and Steve Kerr is willing to have this selfless, let Durant do his thing, let Durant be grumpy when he wants to, and lead the team the way he wants. It's just unbelievable that Kevin Durant has chosen that style of play, to go to Brooklyn, to be the man. And there's nothing wrong with the transition between teams, the basketball part of it, but LeBron going to Miami for the title chase, kind of like KD went to the Warriors, what I'm going with, like, that's fair, that's cool, that happens with star players that need to get their rings. But LeBron's trip to Cleveland was not a trip to a team that was bottom in league attendance, really, really young coach, relatively young players, another superstar going there that's super high maintenance, and also, you could arguably say, sensitive. No, LeBron went to his hometown of Akron, Ohio, Cleveland. He wanted to prove that he could win on his own, that he could he could be the leader of a title team. He constructed that team the way he wanted to. He made it very clear in his coming home letter. He didn't want Wiggins to be that forward guy. He wanted it to be Love, and he got Kevin Love in. And Kyrie, a low maintenance, bad example because Kyrie's the guy on the Nets I'm talking about. So you can give me flack for that, but different situation because LeBron is not a high maintenance guy. I think we can agree on that. Durant's move, we'll see, but gosh, Durant's out for this whole season. People don't remember that. I swear to God, the season's gonna start. People are gonna blank out that Durant's not even gonna play. And so you're gonna have the whole season to watch Kyrie run around, take shots wherever he wants, whenever he wants, be his team, cause a bickering with the coach that he did with Brad Stevens late in the Celtics run. And we're going to have to deal with that drama and see how it ends in the playoffs or with no playoffs. And then Durant comes into that next season. We do realize that, right? For you people that say that, oh, this is not a thing, the Durant and Kyrie personality sensitive. No. We know it's going to be dramatic with Kyrie just having to lead all these young guys and DeAndre Jordan this year. We have that. We're forgetting that Durant isn't even going to play. And he comes back next year into that. It'll be fun. Alright. Let's go on a lighter note. Willie Cauley-Stein, the Golden State Warriors. It's a pretty good move, I think. Cauley-Stein, he's a legit playmaker for a big man especially. He's got pretty good size. He is relatively lean, though, and quick for a big man that plays a lot of down-low ball, a lot of screenplay and dunks type of guy. But for that type of player, compared to a Whiteside or a Boogie Cousins, I guess he's a much leaner, much longer, really fit, really quick. And that can definitely fit in Golden State because they're all about that. They're all about, when Durant was out, it was all about Curry, running around for his shots. It sounds silly and so low basketball IQ-ish, but when they didn't have Durant, and it just seemed like a bunch of guys running around and getting open, and that's really what it is. The throwing Cauley-Stein into that, I don't believe he's a great shooter. Might have to fact check me on that. Pretty positive, though, watching him at Kentucky. I don't think he does much outside from under the rim, but that guy can pass for a big man. I'll tell you, he can pass, and he's a really solid defender. Lots of good blocks this past year, his Kings game, but yeah, that would be interesting, and that should fit pretty decently well. It's hard to get a true center that can shoot, though, so I don't think the no shooting thing is really going to be a huge deal. So, gosh, the Warriors, if Kawhi goes to the Lakers, they got to be my favorite, but you got to think the Warriors lost Durant, but adding D'Angelo Russell, a star, adding Willie Cauley-Stein, a rising player, man, who knows what they can do. Boban went to the Mavs, people. So that semi-officially means the end of Bobby and Toby. I don't mean to rain on anyone's parade, but yeah, Boban Marjanovic and Tobias Harris are not on the same team for the time being. But best of luck to both of them, Tobias Harris is going to ball out in Philadelphia, I guarantee this next season. And Boban on the Mavs, it's gonna be dang fun. You got Kristaps and Luka and don't know who I'm forgetting. That is a young team and they have some good talent. They're gonna be fun to watch. Boban catching the ball and dunking without jumping. Solid pickup right there. And gotta end with this. Okay, hear me out on this. Kawhi staying with the Raptors, may actually be a blessing in disguise for the Lakers. Okay, here's the thing. If Kawhi goes to LAC, like I talked about earlier, for the Raptors, that maybe puts them down a little bit in the East, but then who do you have at the top? You could have Milwaukee or Boston, Philadelphia. Count it mainly like the three teams that these past few years have been, talked about as, oh, who's going to be the next, but it's just wide open. And that means a big battle in the West, but tired teams in the end. And who would have thought in hindsight that anyone would have beat Golden State this year? Yes, barring injuries, but it still happened. And so, Kawhi going to the Lakers, well, that's obviously a different story. Like, he's the great player, one of the best players in the league right now, on the Lakers, giving them that advantage. They'll be the team fighting to get the title, and no one else will have Kawhi. But, listen to this. Kawhi and the Raptors, what does that look like? Well, the Lakers, albeit Golden State is getting Clay back, Steph back, Draymond, Willie Cauley-Stein deloading. We'll see how that works. But the Lakers, Houston's been known to kind of choke with their solely number-reliant system late in the playoffs. You've got Utah has made some really solid pickups, and they'll be dangerous, but no experience with that team. But Lakers, they don't sign Kawhi. More money to spend. Get Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, get these shooters LeBron's play with and have chemistry with. Pick up Iggy, solid role player, and NBA Finals MVP, by the way, too. Good experience, really tough. And suddenly, if AD can have that team of no other big star to get out of the way of, clog the lane from, AD can play a little more of his own role and not necessarily have to be that Chris Bosh type to accept the third role, become kind of a shooter. Suddenly it becomes easier to fit those pieces together for LA, and who knows, maybe that's a easier title team if they're able to have chemistry and get through the season relatively easy, and high seed in the playoffs leads to easier success early, more rest later, and who knows, a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals between Toronto and whoever again, maybe wears out the winner of that, and you got a well-rested LeBron AD duo with a sniper-worthy shooting bench and NBA Finals MVP possibly coming off of it. Like, think about that. That, just putting it that way, that sounds like a dangerous setup. So, I don't know, something to think about, Build around Bron, get Iggy. Kawhi staying with the Raptors could really be a blessing in disguise if he doesn't go to the Lakers or Clippers. So, from the Lakers' perspective, that is, because obviously I have a lot of bias to LeBron, so should have clarified that. But yeah, that's all I got tonight. I think I'm going to get some rest. Wishing all you viewers that eventually get to this a happy 4th of July. And by the way, if I don't put out another podcast before this, shout out to the U.S. Women's National Team. Been watching all their games. Let's get this World Cup title on Sunday at 9 a.m. our time. Gotta wake up to watch it. Alright. Thank you guys for watching.